Hello and welcome. I'm Constellation Gaming, and this is Decklist December, where I'll be going through every single day in December and providing a deck list, whether it's something more towards the competitive end or geared just for fun casuals with your friends. Um, like to take a second just to ask y'all like and subscribe. It really does help out a lot. I know it's the annoying YouTube thing that everybody says, but it genuinely does. Um, so let's get into it. Today we're going to be doing some Emperowatt OTK. So to have Emperowatt OTK, you obviously have to have the Emperowatt. Um, Emperowatt says when you cast Emperowatt, you can nexus all of your enchanting spirits to it. So that means every single spirit that is on your board currently enchanting something can move right to Emperowatt. Then you can disenchant three in any combination from Emperowatt or any combination of frost and thunder from Emperowatt in order to destroy everything on your opponent's field. So it's just one big boom that makes your opponent's field just completely gone, and hopefully at that point you're just swinging for game. Like that is the whole goal of the deck is just load a bunch of spirits on board, play Emperowatt down, and then swing for game essentially. So the way we'll achieve this is we have one Elichick because we're allowed to play one Elichick when you normal cast it. Search your deck for a Divine Rune. Our Divine Rune of choice in this deck is going to be Kione because we want as many Frost and Thunder Spirits on the board as possible. And Kione will allow us not only to put Frost Spirits on the board, but she says when you can disenchant one Frost Spirit from this Kione to return a one Spirit Frost Celestial from your underworld to your hand. So as you can see, we've got a decent amount of them right here that it has to target, and so it can be really useful. And then there's more reasons later on down the road that I'll share why we're playing it. We got three Astro Rabbit here, just because Astro Rabbit's the best card in the game. I pretty much start out every single deck list with this, but I figured I'd start out with the purpose of the deck this time. Uh, this is just simply search top three, pick the best one, shuffle the rest. Five defense. Can't really go wrong with it. Everybody plays it because it is simply the best in the game. Two plucky because we actively do want to find Archeone. Archeone is a big part of our strategy to get a lot of these spirits on board. So even though plucky has the one attack and it's not that great in that manner, it does at least have four defense, so it's not terrible, can stall out a little bit, but the main reason why we're playing it is just because we need to search the Kione, and we have to consistently have it. Next, we're playing two Catarant. Uh, Catarant, when he receives the Frost Spirit heals, it's pretty much just Nemi Sail, but for Frost. Extremely good, especially in the setup we have here, because we have actively two Nexusers, so not only when we cast him, we can also Nexus to him multiple times and get spirits that way. Uh, so Broomlinks is our next card. We've got two of them. Broomlink says you can Nexus up to two Frost, so it's one of our two Nexusers. Uh, and then you can target a non-stadium room. If it's face up, turn it face down. So a Divine you can flip face down. Essentially, that's what it's saying. Uh, that's the only non-stadium rune that you could have face up at the time. I guess artifacts. Never mind. I guess I spoke too soon without thinking on that one. But uh, the rune can no longer be cast as long as Broomalinx is enchanted, and all the enchanting spirits are sent to the underworld, so it can kind of be a pseudo burn card, especially if you hit the divine. That, like, say they load up their Zeus because they only have one of, they're gonna load it up as much as they can and utilize it. You can flip that Zeus, make it to where it's locked, and they possibly just lost like three spirits at one time. So Broomlinks is extremely good, and you can just, if it stays long enough, it can lock up the entire back row to where when you play your Emperowatt out, you can, like, I mean, once Broomlinks is gone, they'll unlock, but you can at least like avoid a Gorgons on cast or something, PTA. You can pretty much, you're just using this to stall for a little bit. at least until you can find your uh, combo pieces, because this is more of a combo deck. Next, we have four Frigicub, or three Frigicub, my bad. It's a 4/2 that says you can Nexus up to two Frost. Uh, when you do enchant one Frost to this Frigicub from the Underworld, so that means we can just keep utilizing our Frost Spirits over and over and over again, and we can just have more than 20 spirits essentially, because we can Nexus, put one on uh, Frigicub, and that's an extra spirit per turn. If we're Nexusing to Catarant, that's an extra 3 spirits per turn that we can just continuously loop as long as we can keep them protected. Next, we have one in Frostix. Honestly, might cut this card, but it's decent. It's I like it more in the twos list than this list, but it still does have its purposes to get back your Nexusers, or possibly just get back, like, put some spirits on the board to cast out your Emperowatt with. Because you can expend 2 Frost and then some special cast a 1 cost. So 1 cost Frost Celestial. So any of these you can special cast from your graveyard to your underworld. Reason why I might cut it is because we only have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 targets for it, which is decent. It's not a bad number of targets. However, it's still not as many as I would like to consistently play this card. But one thing you can technically do is, in Frostix effect, bring something back. Use Keone to bring back Enfrostix to hand, then use Enfrostix effect again. If you have a second Keone, technically you can do that twice. Do a bunch of Nexusing shenanigans, and then play your Emperowatt. So Enfrostix can go off in this deck, however, it's more of a inconsistent pop-off than anything. Next to Eddie, just because Eddie's pretty good. And in this deck, we really don't need to be beating over our guys, but there are some guys in particular, like maybe a Viserys or something, that we just don't want to have continuously beating us and continuously smacking us. So having an Eddie to change position and kill it is pretty good. Also, Eddie deals with Rabbit, gets around almost every counter rune except for Gorgon's Gaze, so there's no real reason not to play it. This might be a fun deck, but there's might as well give yourself a decent chance at winning by playing some of the stronger cards too. Keone, we already went over. I don't know why I clicked on that. No reason to go over it again. Uh, Now, this is where our deck kind of gets a little interesting, because the the only way to summon Emperowatt is not just by ascending and having a bunch of the spirits on board and all that. Like, you want a bunch of spirits on board, obviously, when you play Emperowatt. However, there is a way you can just not have to hard ascend and then play it with 3 spirits. Um, because we're playing a little self mill package. So we're playing Avalanche here. It says each player sends the top 3 cards of their deck to their underworld. If you have a Frost Enchanted Celestial, which a decent chance we do, we don't have a crap ton of them, but we do have a decent amount. You can send an additional 2 cards, so 3 or 5. Obviously, we're hoping to hit at least one of our 2 Emperawatts with that mill. And the reason why is we've got this Rise from the Ashes here. Pay, pay 3, target an Celestial in your underworld, and special cast it in attack position. So obviously we want to mill Emperowatt with the Avalanche, then rise it from the Ashes when we have a bunch of spirits on board from Frigicub and Broomalinks and all that Nexus shenanigans. Next, got 2 Cryoblast. Just because removal, we can't just have stuff constantly beating over us, and a majority of our stuff has decent defense, like our Broomlinks, our Astrabbit, so we don't really have too much of a problem until they get to the higher attack points, which is where they actively start to get really low defense, and Cryoblast becomes extremely strong in those scenarios. So the fact that we have high defense means that Cryoblast is very relevant. Um, Ambrosia, just 3 of. because it heals 3. Healing is extremely strong in this game because it makes you have the ability to play longer because everything costs life in this game. Uh, 2 Nectar of the Gods, search out our pieces. We don't. I would like to run 3, but honestly, we don't have room. Just we kind of had to run other stuff. So 2 is, well, all we could really fit because we do need as much root removal as we can to make sure we don't just sit there and get stomped over. So next is Resting on Your Laurels, 1 cost removal if they have 2 or more enchanting spirits. Target the Celestial with the least spirits, destroy it. Most of the time they'll just have 1 and 1. And so you kind of just get to pay 1 to pick whichever one you want to destroy. Earthquake, pay 2, destroy an Celestial. Just like I said, we really don't want to just keep getting right over, so we have to deal with our guys while we're trying to find our little puzzle pieces to put together a combo. Poison Tipped Arrow, same reason as the last 2 cards, removal and also the -2 defense. Like I said earlier, we do have the higher, or -2 attack, my bad. We do have the higher defense bodies, and some, like, our bodies are nothing to sneeze at, even though we don't have the highest attacks. We do have decent defense, and a lot of our guys have a 4 stat line for attack. So -2 attack on PTA can be extremely relevant to keep our guys alive, and then the expend is just removal at the end. Now, we're playing 2 Helios Chariot Ride because we don't want our combo interrupted. We don't want anybody to Gorgon's Gaze our Emperowatt after I just destroyed my entire board pretty much to play out this Emperowatt and expended 3 off of it just to have it Gorgon's Gaze you, and then possibly Earthquake. So if you go Helios Chariot Ride prior to doing anything, they just can't play counter runes and they can't interrupt your ability to play out your big combo and win the game. And then, like, once you blow it up, it's extremely hard to come back from because even if they do happen to have uh, something in hand by that point, they're more than likely not going to have the answer because the Gorgons has already been zapped from the board and nobody really cares past that point because you'll just be dealing a massive amount of damage in one hit, and probably if they do live, they're going to live on a very low amount. So, do have Gorgons, because Gorgons is the best of counter rune in the game. Best counter rune in the game, just kind of says no to literally everything. Effect on the chain, negates it, uh, suppresses Celestials, can't receive enchantments, attack, nexus, or ascend. So, literally just everything. Says no. That's the deck. Like I said, the whole point is using your Aster Abbots and your Catarant and Brumalinks to stall out until you can kind of consistently find your pieces with your Pluckies and your Kione and just getting everything possibly Emperowatt in hand or engrave with one of the two, preferably engrave. Now, we're running 3 Zaptor. We only really need 3 because even though we're playing the 4 Celestials here and then the 2 here, we're pretty much, a lot of times we are going to be ascending, and if we don't ascend, we're gonna make sure not to spend that 3rd spirit, so that way we can, when we play Rise from the Ashes, we can put the 1 frost on, or 1 electric on Emperowatt, just due to the fact that you only need 1 thunder on Emperowatt, and so that's why we are running a very small amount, because we really just want to utilize as much frost as we can and move that around. 2 earth, or 2, yeah, earth spirits for the earthquake. Uh, 1 solar spirit for the pluckies because we only need to get the Kione off once with these 2, so we don't need multiple solar. Uh, got 3 Leviathan here because we have 2 Eddy here, and then we have some water in the sideboard, as you can see. So then to finish out, it's 11 Flurmine, and that's just due to the fact that we want to be recycling our spirits a lot. We want to have spirits on board and engrave, so that way we can utilize Frigicub's effect to Nexus and move stuff like out of grave, and also so we can utilize Catarant and heal. So yeah, our side deck is pretty much just going into Frost Nexus, to be honest. Uh, After you surprise them, if you do like play this in a best of three, if once you surprise them with the Emperowatt OTK, they're just gonna prep for it. It's gonna be a lot easier. They're not gonna set everything. They might set one or two back row and all that, but uh, then you can just easily side out into Frost Nexus. So you got three altar because you're playing you just want to move around a lot of Frost Spirits and you have the ability to just have a lot of Frost Spirits on board easily with your Frigicub and your Kione and your Searching of the Divine. So Alter here I prefer over Tsunami just due to the fact that you do have the ability to have such an immense amount of spirits on board. Um, Next to Shield, just honestly to replace the two Helios there, so you have easier um, easier time against just some big guys who might want to attack against you. One Gorgons just to finish it off, because like I said earlier, Gorgons is just the best counter in the entire game. One Mountains of Boreas, which honestly I think I want to put a second one in here due to the fact that with Frigicub and um, what is it, Broomalinx? Yeah, dude, with Frigicub and Broomalinx, you can have a lot of spirits on board, so that buff can be very relevant. And if they don't have the ability to destroy the stadium, you can just run away with the game just by using those two alone. One Eddie, just because Eddie is Eddie. Eddie is really strong. Like I said earlier, it gets around everything but Gorgon's Gaze. Same reason why we're playing Galaxy is plus all that reasoning, plus it also shuts off enemy galaxies, so we can swap their attack and defense, attack over with one of our like four attackers, and then our galaxy will go back to five attack. So it's extremely strong playing second against other galaxies. Next, Cryoling. Uh, just because, like I said, we're gonna have a decent amount of frost spirits in the grave and also in on board. Cryoling, there's multiple ways, especially with the Mountains of Boreas, that you could get that Cryoling stat to be 6 or more. You could easily, if you have Mountains of Boreas Nexus 2 to it, and then that becomes a 3/5, and then you just need 3 Frost Spirits in the grave. Since you do have 2 Nexusers, there is the possibility of easily just Nexusing 4 right onto it with the Mountains of Boreas, and then you only need 1. And that can literally be a OTK swing for the game with like the Cryovern combo. Plus you're already playing an Enfrostix and a Kione. So Enfrostix, I really like playing it with Cryolane due to the fact that you can just Cryolane, summon out Cryovern, play Enfrostix to summon Cryolane, and then Cryolane effect again, summon Cryovern. So you just sit there with 2 Cryoverns, and there's not, especially if you summon it like later in the game, there's not a whole lot they can do about that. That's the list. Like I said earlier, give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. It really does help out a lot. I would really love to make it onto the Illustrious Creator page. That is my goal. So please, please, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, I will see you tomorrow. Peace.